Hi, welcome to Project Geospatial. Can't get my words tonight. Can't get my words together at all. So I'm Adam Simmons. This is Project Geospatial. Welcome to Late Night Geo. And back while he's messing with his computer, getting things set up, is Mason Rothman. So Late Night Geo is when we usually bring on guests from the Twitterverse or everywhere else to come on the show anytime. And if you're interested in coming to the show, feel free to send us a message and we'll try to get you set up with an invite. And you're welcome to chat with us and talk about anything geo. So Mason and I are just going to be talking tonight for a little bit about the various things that have been going on over the last week. And we did miss something last week that we wanted to mention. Mason, and let me see if I can switch that over. Do you want to show the Mars Perseverance stuff now?
Sure. I'm looking at the Esri product right now of it. What all did you want to take a look at?
Yeah, let's just show it in general. So the cool thing about the Mars mission is all the imagery of Mars that has been taken by various times over the years has been revisualized within the Esri's online, right? So you can visualize the map, but you can also see the Perseverance, where the Perseverance landed, as well as several of the images on the way down that it showed. So really, really cool. Now you're zooming on an Insight, so that's not even it at all. So
this is Insight from 2018. The imagery in some of these areas is quite amazing. Actually, the resolution on it just depends on which spacecraft, which orbiter, etc. went by. But this was Insight from 2018. You can see here's the overview of everything in the different times. What I'm really interested in, and I sent Dave Troy or Esri if you want to reply on this or whoever it is. But the tweets here, you can click on the tweets and watch it not work now. But you can click on the tweets. There we go, and it'll have. That's not the best one right there. There's some better examples.
Do me a favor and slow down
it has an actual location of that's a geolocated product or a related product, and that's where it's placed on the surface of Mars here. So I didn't know if somebody's in the back end running this, or if there's a way where they can actually do, kind of like we do with Earth, where you can pull out the place names from Mars and then locate them automatically. I bet somebody's doing it manually right now.
Yeah, slow down a little bit for the screen share. You're going way too fast. So,
okay.
Yeah, just slow movements. It's not that I don't have good bandwidth, but at the same time, the screen sharing in some of these applications can't catch up with the frame rates on what you're doing on the other side.
Okay.
But anyway,
just go over all that again?
No. I think it's fine. But I'm sure you can find the Perseverance in there somewhere, just for the sake of last week's big news of the landing on Mars.
Yeah, well, talk to that if you want to. I'm just exploring the gorgeous imagery of Mars, to be honest with you, in this product here. And I think a lot of our fellow colleagues will probably do the same, geek out on it a little bit.
So this URL is explore-mars.esri.com, and you're welcome to check it out. And very, very cool application. We're not going to spend all night talking about this. But very, very cool exploring.
Adam, we need a goal here. We need a goal because I'm seeing that there's a lot of names to these craters and landmarks on here. We need to get one named after Project Geospatial somehow. We need to have a goal for this. We need to have the PG crater or something named after us.
I don't know. I feel like Mars has been claimed by all the explorers and people looking at it.
Yeah, look at this. Look at all the different craters and whatnot named there. It depends what resolution where you're zoomed in. There you go. The Sharonov crater, the Atumawa crater, and I'm sure they're named after famous scientists, explorers, etc. I'm not knocking that. And one thing, I'm just putting a little goal out there of I'm not trying to buy a star for my daughter type thing or whatever. I'm just saying we should have.
Does everybody remember that once upon a time?
Well, they still have it, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah. I might have bought some stars over the years. I can't recall. As gifts. Yeah, this is gorgeous.
Another cool thing that came out in the last week, and I think we mentioned this last time, we're going to show the latest brackets of the SAR use case tournament.
Yes, I forgot about this.
So I have to might have to check the stats back at the URSA's Twitter and LinkedIn to see who's kind of coming ahead. But there are some pretty obvious ones that seem to be pushing ahead of the rest if we kind of go back through them.
Here we go.
So, for example, let's see. So I'll give you an example. So there's a couple up for bid right now. For example, I saw the illegal fishing monitoring versus sanctions enforcement right now to kind of give you an idea on Twitter, because they're doing the same thing on LinkedIn as well. But on Twitter, sanctions and illegal fishing looks like it's getting 66.7% of the votes, but there doesn't look like there been that many votes on Twitter. There might be a lot more on LinkedIn, so I might have to check.
So if you see it on LinkedIn or Twitter, folks, retweet it out so that we can get some honest input here.
Well, I'll go back on the LinkedIn right now and check out what the votes are. Let's see. Of course, see, this is why I wish their website was a little bit.
This is great, though. It adds a little bit of excitement back into it that people can familiarize themselves with the brackets and basketball, et cetera. You know what I mean?
So we're gonna go off of LinkedIn because LinkedIn has a lot more votes on there, right? So let's go illegal fishing monitoring versus sanctions enforcement. So far, with 30 votes, illegal fishing monitoring has more of an interest for use cases by 63% of the vote. Now, the second one is oil spill detection versus deforestation. Deforestation actually has 65% of the votes with 20 votes right now altogether. So you going back to Mars? We're watching your screen right now.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's very addicting.
Yeah.
I had to close out of the whatchamacallit here. Let me see if I can reopen that one there. Nah, I don't feel like signing back into LinkedIn online. Sorry, I had to reboot my system or reinstall my operating system last night, folks. So I'm not signed into everything.
Well, I got the screen sharing turned off for both of us. Anyway, so it looks like we still got a couple brackets ahead. I think the brackets for this week is closed out, so we'll see.
So we're not screen sharing anything anymore?
Not at the moment. I can change it back when you're ready.
Oh, okay.
When you have something to show.
No, I didn't know I didn't know what mode we were in there because it still shows me up as broadcasting on my screen.
Well, you're still screen sharing. I just don't have the. I'm not showing it on the stream right now.
Oh, okay, Roger.
So anyway, so I look forward to looking at the SAR use case tournament as it breaks out. So we got a couple more brackets we're going to do. I think I also saw so oil storage levels and car counting. I thought I saw that one get put out as well at one point. So I think I prefer oil storage levels myself as a use case over car counting, but either have a lot of potential in terms of what you can analyze for a facility, especially for car counting. You know, traffic levels, supply chain analysis, that type of thing, especially as you analyze the one facility as a relation to another, not just people trying to go to work. So there's a lot of potential in imagery there. Then the other one that's up that I did not mention yet is flood mapping versus agricultural monitoring. I'm not so both. I probably, from a personal interest, probably care more about flood mapping, but agricultural monitoring still has significant interest from an economic standpoint. So lots of potential there. I'll be interested to see how the SAR use case tournament actually turns out in a couple weeks. See what the final.
Did you actually talk about how you would use SAR in it, or were you just talking about what you? I was just
talking about what use cases I prefer with these different with the SAR use cases that are matched against each other.
Okay. I didn't know if you were talking from a sensor point of view or if you were talking from okay.
Well, from a use case standpoint, you know,
okay.
What's the advantage of monitoring oil storage levels, for example, over car counting? From a use case, what would you rather have?
It depends if I'm government or commercial.
What do you think has the most viability from a business standpoint?
Oil. If we're just talking numbers about dollars at the end of the day, then oil.
Well, here's a tough one from an environmental category. What about oil spill detection or deforestation?
From a SAR point of view, Deforestation, because that's going to be a fairly low hanging fruit to do. From have you ever looked at like a really dense, or like at a forest, for instance, on SAR? That's going to be a fairly easy one to map out and do polygons, etc. with, and will have more of an impact.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it'd
oil
be
spills. How often do we get oil spills, man? Not to say that they're horrible. When we did have one recently in the Bay Area too, that's why it's kind of on the I don't know
well,
on
well,
the
the oil
hot
spill
spot list.
happened last year. There was a big one that happened last year, and it was a pretty big economic impact. But it was wild because of how well the SAR sensor detects oil spills within the water.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's what I'm saying from the deforestation. The only problem you're going to have in deforestation, and here's your challenge. Ooh, and this is why deforestation will lose because of terrain masking in really hilly areas and whatnot. You can't account if there really are trees there or not, right? Because it's just going to come out black in those areas where you have really hilly or mountainous areas, even though you know it's there or you hope it's there, because then what if, and it's only going to take one or two EO use cases where they're like, well, SAR didn't see this, that's why you should use EO, unless you've got both, of course. But you know what I mean, those areas where it is going to actually show up, places were empty or deforested or cut down, and they were in a terrain massed area and SAR couldn't see it.
we're gonna have to bring a SAR expert on and have this kind of debate. That'd be more interesting.
Well, no, so oil spill detection would win then if it comes to use case, I guess, because deforestation is going to lose. Yeah, I'm talking in circles on that one.
You are. So another big news item for this last week is Synspective released the first image from its small SAR satellite, Strix-A. So it's a Jap. Oh, sorry, it's not A. I think it's like Alpha or something like that. I'm not sure
Okay.
what the letter is. Um, Japanese space industry. So it's a Japanese startup. So they were able to get up in the air, and looks like it's at an altitude of 500 kilometers, a sun synchronous orbit. I'm trying to get a basic resolution idea of this real quick. They aim to build a constellation of 6 satellites by 2023 and 30 satellites by late 2020s. And so let's see.
Are you screen sharing that?
No, I'm not. It makes
Okay.
possible to observe the location of disaster occurring anywhere in the world within the time of 2 hours. With 6 satellites, it's within 24 hours. So they have a 2 hour turnaround, hopefully, to get coverage over a specific event in the world.
How many spacecraft are they putting up in these tiny things?
Plan to put 30 up by 2023. That's not far off. So
Wow, 2023, that's just around the corner, quite literally.
yeah.
Well, I think we
Oh,
talked about
sorry.
the previous.
By late
Go
20
ahead.
by late 2020s, they're going to have 30. 6 satellites by 2023.
Still, I mean, that's really impressive. Just, but I think we talked about this on the last episode. The micro and smaller satellite industry is just taking off. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And actually, it's good to keep track of it. I know we keep track of a lot of recent ones, like Capella just launched theirs this year, Capella Space. So it's the first American company to successfully launch their SAR satellite up in the air.
Yeah, and I shared out that information last week that Starlink currently has 1/3 of all the satellites up in the air, and then they'll have half by, I think, the end of this year. They're going to have half of all satellites that are airborne right now.
Yeah, so Capella's satellite has a resolution of half a meter. So that's really good for a SAR sensor. Can't wait to get some sample data of that and take a closer
How
look.
many birds does Capella have up now? I have no clue.
That is a good question.
I always follow their work. They're doing great stuff. They do it a little different, but they're also out in San Fran as well, which is a huge benefit for the tech community.
Yeah, I think they have 2 up, but I want to be sure. So they say they have Capella 2. So Capella 1 might have been a test satellite. But so they might have 2 up, but one of them might be for operational.
Okay. Well, they've been on social media, at least they've been having a lot of fun. They did for President's Day week and whatnot. They were calling out different areas like all around the country, around the world, that were mostly the country that were named after U.S. presidents. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So the resolution of the synspective satellite is going to be between 1 to 3 meters for single polarized the VV mode band. I can't even get my language straight these days. So this is why I even have to go back and periodically research, because I got so much information stuck in my head from all these different sensors. I have to refresh myself, even on the SAR.
I was like that with PCs last night, trying to do that power supply replacement, like I was telling you earlier, trying to jog my memory of all my things that I remember from the past. But yeah, it's the same way with the satellites, the sensors, and all the things that all the knowledge we've acquired over the years.
But they also plan on iterating their SAR constellation over the course of launches. So maybe they're going to get better when 1 meter. But obviously, 1 meter is still pretty good, regardless. A lot of the SAR sensors are, between 2 and 10 meters. So
Yeah, so
anything,
1 meter is not too bad, huh?
yeah, anything at 1 meter or lower is really, really good for the commercial community.
It
But
is.
Japanese one right there, and ISI is another one. And they just announced another satellite.
No, they're out of Helsinki, right?
ISI,
Yeah.
you're quizzing me on information that
I know,
I
right?
really have to figure out.
I'm treating you like Google right now. Okay, Adam, is this?
You just go to about.
Yeah, I think so.
Should have all this stuff memorized, but by now. So they just launched. Let's see, in January, I believe. It's a Finnish company, FYI.
Okay, yep.
And
Yeah, Helsinki.
so ISI now operates a commercial constellation of 6 SAR satellites, and the company plans to launch at least 8 additional satellites in 2021. So that'll be interesting. And where's my? I want to go to Twitter.
It's interesting you mentioned those last two that you mentioned, by the way, and this is this is just an FYI, but both Capella and ICI sell to China as well. They're the first two to do that.
So ISI does have a resolution of looks like they say, I think it's a 0.5 meter for their spotlight. It's either a quarter or a meter or a 0.5 meter. I can't tell based off of the way they have their resolution on their website here. It's like 0.25 times 0.5. So I don't know if that's a range or what.
I'm not sure either. I don't have the page up. I know what you're saying there, right?
It's crazy. There's no standard spreadsheet across these providers to explain their resolutions oftentimes, and it's something I've been trying to I've been thought about making over the years, but it's just at this point it's just hard to keep up with all the launch in satellites to keep that pull up.
It's insane how many launches, but we were just talking about all the micro satellites, et cetera, and and the cool part about it is it's getting cheaper and cheaper to get into space with all the, with the more people that join in. And the demand's there for it as well.
Absolutely. Let's see. What else do we got? So we have quite a bit of launch news the last month or two, and we didn't mention in the last episode. So we're going to do this every Friday night at least. And if you all want to pop on the show, you're welcome to, once again, send us a message, preferably on Twitter, and we'll invite you to come on. And you're welcome to correct us on any erroneous things that we might say just by, our poor memories, or just it's starting to get late either way. And we're getting old. It's hard to.
We're getting old. What are you talking about?
There we go. There's the old jokes again. I seem to do this every episode now, right?
You're in your 30s, you son of a gun. What do you mean? I just had my birthday too, so I'm getting old, man. You're not. Yeah. And remember, we had that whatchamacallit too just this past weekend, that Denver to Hawaii flight that caught fire. The engine caught fire, I'm sure, and all the pieces fell around Denver, all around it. I was watching it on the new Area 51 on Twitter, was sharing out the flight tracking, et cetera, on it.
Do you want to show that real quick?
What's that?
Do you want to show that real quick?
Yeah, I've got it up on my tabs right now. If you want to share it, you can. I've just got the.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you
Click on
go.
the image. So there's the
So
flight path. That was really interesting.
it was, yeah, it was something else to see because, and I'll show more of it here in a second. Oh, cool. Here's an. Can you hear that?
I can actually, yeah. Hold on, let me share the audio. I gotta turn on sharing audio.
Okay.
You got it.
Mayday, Mayday, United 28, 328 heavy, Mayday, Mayday aircraft. United Denver departure, United 328 heavy, Mayday aircraft. Just experienced it. Engine failure, need to turn immediately. Left to turn, left turn. 328, turn left turn, 080. Updating 080, United 328 heavy.
Man, you could hear the urgency in these guys' voices. That was 5 maydays that they called out. 5 maydays that they called out, and you could hear even in the ATC air traffic control guy's voice as well a little bit of a jitter. And he's like, left turn or right turn, and then they made the left turn. So wow, that was something else. And then I'll go back and I'll show some pictures of it here too. This is actually a video of it. How would you like to look out your window and see that?
I know, right? I would be freaking the whole time. Now, who knows though? Other than that initial explosion or pop or whatever happened there, maybe it's a smooth ride. Aircraft can successfully run off of one engine. They're designed to be able to do that. Second one goes, then you might be a little bit in trouble, and hope your pilot can, crash safely. But overall, yeah, they can run off of one engine.
And here's the final product. They found out what the cause of it was, and New Area 51 shared this out once again. But you can see, and they took down the video of it because you know how it goes with law, copyrights, and everything. I guess the original owner of the video claimed it, and whatever else. Everybody wants to make a dime anymore. But anyhow, you can actually see the fire here on the engine, but in the video, it's shooting out the flames actually in it, and then you can see the broken fan blade here actually. And so, yeah, that's it right there. So yeah, it was something else to see this covered by, almost in near real time through social media. There were multiple people that were on board tweeting this out, and family members, of course, and then all the people that were having that, the junk fell in their yard, etc. Like, look at this guy, his front yard. Can you imagine? Can you imagine coming out to that?
Now I wonder, do they have? Do they have these things fall? I wonder if they have a map of the debris yet. Have you seen a map of the debris?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that yet. And I challenge any of our Denver people to if somebody hasn't put that out there yet, because I've seen like 20 plus pieces of it. The FAA at minimum should do that, to be honest with you.
I know, right? So another piece of news, completely separate from this, and because we're getting a lot of little small news updates from St. Louis, and I don't want to wait till next month because this one's going to be on March 3rd. So if you're all interested, you can check out the Geo Innovation National Speaker Series out of St. Louis. And instead, they were going to have Tony Frazier from Maxar speak, but instead it's going to be Maxar's Nancy Coleman. And as well as New Vista's Dennis Muhlenberg for the March 3rd Geo Innovation Speaker Series. And that's going to be at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. And you can check that video out. So let's see. And so I'm not entirely sure what they're going to be talking about. Let's see, monthly spotlight. It just talks about the series in general. So now, if you know anything about some of these individuals, we can look them up real quick. I know Nancy is the let's see, what is she? She the director of marketing.
I don't know when you read off the names, none of them, but I didn't work over in. Yeah.
Well, okay, so Nancy Coleman's the chief marketing communications officer at Maxar. So she probably going to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on over there. So hopefully we get some insights of what new projects they're working on. The other individual is, like I said, New Vista's Dennis Muhlenberg. Let's figure out who this individual is. I don't know who they are.
I don't know. I've got Nancy's picture up here for this downtown T-Rex Geo Innovations tweet.
So that's Chairman and CEO New Vista's Acquisition Corp. This will be interesting. I wonder if they're going to talk about economic development out in St. Louis, as opposed to actual geospatial products and services, and marketing out there in St. Louis and getting the word out and what that can involve.
Yeah, talking to venture capitalists, et cetera, and that's where, I mean, that's part of where T-Rex, et cetera, comes in. So yeah, they're looking for a lot of investment. They're doing it right.
And it looks like, speaking about this new thing with things like SPACs, in which Black Sky announced that they're a part of.
Yeah, weren't they the first
Vista
last week? The first SPAC?
Oh no, they were not the first. We went over this. They're definitely not the first, but
yeah, but not the first, but the first. I thought it was the first SPAC, though. Okay, but it's not. Okay.
No. So Dennis Muhlenberg apparently. Let's see. There was a New Vista acquisition recently. Okay, that was in 2021, May 17th. They just announced. I got to read this. I'm talking in words here as I'm reading this article. New Vista Acquisition, a blank check company led by ex-Boeing CEO Dennis Muhlenberg, targeting emerging tech and aerospace and defense, raised $240 million by offering 24 million units at $10 a share. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the name of his company is New Vista Acquisition Corp. So they're definitely on the venture capital investing.
And that news, by the way, was on NASDAQ.com.
There was on NASDAQ.com.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever.
Either way, check out that Geo Innovation Series episode on Monday. I think I will, just to see what's going on, what are they talking about, and how it's related to the geospatial industry out in St. Louis.
Yeah, I just saw a tweet from Cortex on it, actually. Cortex STL. I'm not too familiar with them, but I'll retweet this out. Cortex Innovation Community is Mid-America's premier hub for technology and bioscience research, development, and commercialization.
I got to figure that out. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of audience they're trying to attract with this Geo Innovation Series. Are they trying to attract business individuals or investors or all types? I feel like they need more marketing to talk about what they're going to talk about.
Well, this is quite literally a tune in, and we can see what their objectives are.
True, and they haven't had many of these yet, and I think they're still trying to figure that out. Let's see. That's another one. I saw another update recently as well. Oh yeah, Leidos and Gateway Global team up on the geospatial intelligence training for students. So that one's another St. Louis GeoFutures news that came out.
Yeah, I saw some news on Leidos too. Yeah, that's right.
So this is to help train the workforce out there for the geospatial industry. So they need to adapt to the rapidly growing geospatial sector. It is a critically component of our efforts to strengthen St. Louis. This is quotes from Andy Deering out there. As a global center for geospatial technology. So this partnership is not only advances St. Louis geospatial sector, but also serves as proof point for the broader implementation of key plans like the GeoFutures strategic roadmap. Okay, so once again, training the workforce out there. That's pretty much what this is. A partnership to try and get more people in the geospatial industry in the next couple of years. We will see how that goes. Look at you playing with Mars again while I'm not looking at my screen.
This is pretty awesome, actually. There's a lot of potential here, actually.
There's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, okay, so quite literally take everything that we and they have done with Google Earth over the years and think about how you could do it here on Mars.
Oh, okay. We got our Courtney is. It's hard to figure out who's chatting on what. So I just noticed her message on our Tonight Show. Muhlenberg is former Boeing CEO. Okay, yeah. We took us a while to figure out. Probably would have taken us a little less time if we actually read our chat messages coming in.
Who's this Courtney you keep talking about?
Well, she was on our show for the St. Louis Spotlight that we're going to be doing hopefully every month. We have the
Oh,
next
there's an
one planned for
episode with
next
her
month.
on it?
Yeah, that we have on a week or 2 weeks ago.
We love having you on, Courtney. That was a great episode. Thank you, dear. I don't care what they say about you. Yeah, this is amazing. Checking out Mars alone.
Yeah, right. I'm going to change it off the screen sharing because I don't. Well, I guess we can just talk while you're just skimming the Mars. There's something to show at least. So my favorite place on Mars to look at, by the way, it's pretty popular, and I'm sure it's what everybody likes to look at as Mars, is the Olympus Mons volcano, supposed to be the largest volcano in the solar system. I'm sure you can find it, Mason. It's
I'll look here in a second. I'm testing the limits of the resolution on the imagery here.
For some of these satellites, are these some of these I can't tell if some of these they took them while they were landing on Mars, or if it's because they do have a Mars orbiter taking
the orbiters
of the planet.
Yeah, I'm sure if we looked at the sources and all that and actually read through this thing, we'll read through the marketing stuff. We'd
Mars Reconnaissance orbiter looks like it launched in 2005, and when did it get to Mars?
Oh wow! Check out the sun.
2006. So the Mars orbiter, it's I think it's called Maven. Everybody likes that word these days, Maven. What kind of resolution does this guy have on it? Has solar wind ion analyzer, solar wind electron analyzer, solar energetic particle, suprathermal and thermal ion composition, probe, and let's see, magnetometer.
Here's Olympus, by the way. If New York City was inside Olympus Mons, so this is how big this sucker is.
But you can rotate that. Did you figure out the 3D mode? There's a 3D mode on here.
No, what do you got to do?
I think it's up in the upper left-hand corner somewhere. One of those buttons. It might be one of those buttons.
There we go.
So if you zoom out more, zoom out more. That's not the whole thing, man. There you go. Look at how wide that thing is. Now tip it off on its side. You can see it's basically, it's got this. It's like a giant. It itself is like a. What do you even call this? It's like a. I hate to be disgusting on the air, but it's like this giant pimple off of Mars.
Did you just call Olympus a pimple?
Yeah, I did. I did. It's like it's this big sore spot on Mars, the big mole.
Yeah. Let me click on this sucker here and just see. Once again, it's just going to launch this. It's just whatchamacallit of it. But yeah. And that's something. Now, there it is. There's Dubai inside Olympus.
Oh, how big it is!
Yeah.
Cool.
People are doing comparisons. So we did New York City.
Can you click on that tweet?
Dubai. Yeah, hold on. Let me go back to it. I think it just launches the app again, though. Hold on. And takes me to that, yeah.
Oh, so another cool thing I can't wait to try out is NASA's released their 360 photos of the Perseverance rover on Mars, and what'd be cool is I want to import those 360 photos in the Oculus VR, so you can kind of be there.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that out. I'm gonna work on that in the next week.
This is really neat. I wonder what other layers you could add in here, or what the possibilities are here. Because it's not like we have too much infrastructure, etc. These craters are insane.
Oh, they are. Oh well,
I mean,
Mars has more moons than we do. I think the lack of, I think we'll have to get uh, Dr. Tanya Harrison back on here, but I think the lack of atmosphere uh, helps prevent a lot of the things that come down on Mars from burning up, because there's just not as much friction to get to the planet. So one thing that I would like to show, and then since you have the screen share up, I think it's a good opportunity to preview, we'll call it the trailer for the new series that Project Geospatial is going to do. You up for that?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to send you the link and you can play it on your screen. Leave it there and we'll let it play. So stand by. We'll post the link after the show within Twitter so you all can hear it in its full glory and full resolution. But for now, here's a small preview as soon as I can find.
So what I'm noticing, back to the Mars, I'll play it here in a second, but back to the Mars scene just real quick before we click over. I'm noticing this is really cool. People are doing not just the city overlays, but they're just doing all kinds of geography overlays like this one. They're just doing relative size of canyons and whatnot now. So people's minds are starting to explore layers. That's cool. All right, I got your link.
Let's play that sucker.
Hold on.
Full YouTube glory.
See that monkey. Go full screen, or is this good?
You can go full screen. Yeah, full screen it, man. Oh, you have to turn the sound on.
Turn the sound up.
Oh yeah, you have to turn the sound. You have to turn your system sound on. So might as well stop the video
on.
before it gets too far.
I need to mute my system.
No, look, it's muted on YouTube.
Yeah, I just muted YouTube. Do you want me to unmute it?
You can, yeah, unmute it. Yeah, you got to go back, man. Your system volume's not up high enough.
One of those questions.
My system volume's not up?
Where am I? And then where branches out to become, where am I relative to somewhere else? How far is it from here to there?
Of course, I don't think it's going to show very well.
What's happening there?
Screen sharing.
Human beings have been defining location without cartography or the study and creation of maps. Early maps gave unique perspectives into how ancient civilizations perceived the extents of their known worlds. Maps defined trade routes, helped expand and manage empires, and gave explorers drive to figure out what's beyond the edges. In the modern world, the question remains the same: where? But that question is now expanded into exquisite branches in understanding location that overlaps with numerous layers of our lives. In our current age of technology, geospatial has become the term to describe a much broader meaning of how we decipher where through information collecting. Geospatial broadly refers to any information having location data associated with it. That data is collected and organized through Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, which is a term often used to refer to the technology and tools that are used to interpret and create context for geospatial data. We can then use GIS to tell stories about what is happening there and why. Cartographic and navigational tools of the ancient world, such as compasses, sextant, and even a telescope, were the GIS applications of their time. What started as a simple question of where has evolved from expanding our horizons of the known world to even exploring our place in the universe and other worlds. Project Geospatial is committed to increasing awareness of geospatial technology, best practices, and educational resources. In our series, learn not only how far we've come from ancient tools used by our ancestors, but also how far we are going with new and emerging technologies ahead. We need to continue to understand our world and how where everything impacts our lives and the understanding of our planet through location. I'm Adam Simmons of Project Geospatial, and this is the journey of where.
Yeah, we'll post the full link in.
Did that play back?
No, don't play it again.
No, did that play back well, or?
It was okay. It was a little shaky through the screen share. What probably needs to happen is I probably natively through on the computer using a virtual studio to screen share and push.
Was
the
it
video
just shaky
out.
at the beginning or shaky throughout?
No, it's shaky throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
So let's move on a different tab so we don't need to advertise random things.
Oh yeah, what all do we got up there? The proper way to latest tweets.
Oh, here's another one for you. No, I know you're all crazy about Mars. You can check out that tweet real quick.
Let's see.
What I just shared with Mason was so within the parachute coming down on the Perseverance rover parachute, there was a binary code hidden within the parachute. And that
cool.
Binary code spells out "Dare Mighty Things." Very cool.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, I haven't been on social that much this week. This is awesome. This is the cool stuff that I missed out on. This was just from yesterday. Okay, cool. Now this is really neat. I love hidden little Easter eggs and gems like this.
Yeah, so another kind of Easter egg I found out recently, well, it's an Easter egg. So I'm trying to look at different imagery, what different state and counties offer imagery, and what states actually have taken imagery and do it as a collection and then offer the data back to the public. One of those states actually happens to be the state of Ohio. And Ohio is interesting because they're doing similar to the NAPE data, which takes their images of the country in various forms in 1 meter imagery. Usually, Ohio has used aerial imagery down to it's 1.5 inches. Did I get that right? 15 inch? No. See, now I have to look at the data.
Speaking of layers and imagery and whatnot, you always reach out to Justin Myers on that one too. Old Justin making Myers for layers or imagery.
Yeah, there is a 1.5 inch example, and I will share a screen share. I'll share an image out to you, and you can show it on your screen.
Okay. And you said
this is an example of
Ohio.
This is Ohio. This is what 1.5 meter imagery looks like. Oh, sorry, 1.5 inch imagery. Sorry, 1.5 inch imagery, and that's the equivalent of 0.15 meter. I think no, that's equivalent to 0.07 meter. Can't get my numbers straight. Yeah. Okay. Nope. It's even more than that. It's 3.81 centimeters. So it's 0.03 meters. So converting that to metrics. So that is insane. I mean, if those cars were turned on their side, you could literally read license plates off of it. Now there's this 1.5 inch imagery isn't all over Ohio. It's kind of peppered throughout it. Their standard imagery resolution is actually 3 inches.
I don't think you could read the license plate.
I think you could if you were on it, if the cars were on its side.
The reason I say that, amigo, is there's a couple here in the lower left, and I'll hover my mouse over it.
Those are wreckers, man. Those are wreckers.
Hold on a second, and then there's one right here. What I'm pointing out are tires, and tires have words on them, right? Typically. And those words are about the same size as the lettering on your license plate.
No, they're not.
Typically.
No, license plate.
Look at all these tires. Can you read Goodyear? Can you read I'm Wrong Adam on any of them?
yeah, you are. So license plate letterings are huge. They're like 4 or 5 inches long.
Okay.
Those letters are no more than an inch wide.
You know what? Let's do a live stream. Why don't you go out to your Jeep right now and do a comparison in inches of it. You know I'm right. You can't even make out a single letter. You can't even make out the white lettering.
I'll tell you what. I will go. For the next episode, I'll take some comparison measurements.
What I'm saying is on these all black tires. When do you ever see all black tires like that? There's not.
I show you this cool 1.5 inch imagery, and you're shitting on it.
Look at all these tires. Look at these things.
So the standard resolution across the entire state is 3 inches, which is equivalent to 0.07 meters, by the way, or 7 centimeters, 7.62 centimeters. So you can go to Ohio. Ohio.
Why would you want to go to Ohio?
So it's the Ohio Geographical Reference Information System. So the Ohio Statewide Imagery Program, you can literally do it. So it's ogrip.oit.ohio.gov, and you can find these the imagery holdings and download them. So they have 12-inch, 6-inch, 3-inch across the entire state. They even have multi-year stacks, for free. Very cool. Very cool if you want to see what some of the best aerial imagery I've ever seen, by the way.
No, I always love hearing that for free stuff, especially for folks like Justin, like I mentioned, or whatever, to add to his data sets.
And this snapshot here, is just a small snapshot. I just grabbed something where you can kind of get an idea of how detailed it is. I didn't zoom into this. I probably should have, just so you're not giving me a hard time on what you just explained.
No, I was just messing around, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But back to the data thing, data, especially free data, folks, like, mark our words here. And in a few years, like, free data is going to, it's going to be, it gets rarer and rarer every year. So collect as much as you can and appreciate it.
Yeah. Right. Let's see.
Yeah. Data's going to be data's going to be a good financial source in the future, for sure. Accumulation of all the free data sources, spatial data sources for our industry. Yeah, this imagery is quite impressive, though. That you sent over, you could tell if somebody was in the vehicle, etc. too.
Yeah, I've got a.
Which would be really cool in the junkyard if there was like a body in a trunk or something like that. We'd be be heroes. There's one trunk popped here, but that's like on a minivan or something.
Maybe I will try to bring up ARC real quick and take a quick screenshot and then send you a new one.
Okay.
So interesting enough, I would screen share myself, everybody, except I'm having some memory problems on my computer. I don't want to push it too far, so I got new RAM coming next week.
When are we going to start doing that as humans? When our memory starts going, we can replace it with something electronic and jog our memories.
I know, right? Oh, no, I chose the wrong one.
I need to go into my deep RAM.
I'm
going back to Mars. I don't got time for this.
Story of everybody's life.
Yeah, this is great. I'm going back to Mars. This Earth theme's starting to get old. No, it's in our human nature to expand like this, so it's not surprising at all that we're looking out at other areas and whatnot. I mean, look at us since our evolution, since our creation, we've just been expanding out, right? So, at the same time, we do stay in our major cities and metropolises, etc. But then it's human nature just to spread out, so to speak, on this planet of 8 billion. Plus.
Now, I should say that this imagery is actually LiDAR based.
All right.
So we're seeing the orthomosaic form of that LiDAR data, but you can actually create 3D data out of LiDAR, and we've seen that. Plenty of examples of that. You can even do that with drones. With some of the technology I've shown in previous episodes. Let's see. Let me do a more zoomed in view.
All right, there we go.
Now it's a little fuzzy from here, I'll admit, but I still am convinced that you can identify a license plate.
I don't see good years, so it's bad times for you already. But I don't see.
No, well, how are you going to see it with the letters within the black anyway.
Okay, here, right here, I can start to see some white lettering where my mouse is at right here-ish. I can
First
start
of
to
all,
see
this is
some
a
white lettering.
junkyard. Mason, this
So
is
what,
a
did they strip
junkyard.
the letters off the tires in the junkyard?
No, but haven't you ever seen a worn out tire? A lot of them don't show
Your
that stuff.
strength on that argument is so weak it hurts.
It is.
Dude,
Put this up for a poll online.
yeah, I know. I think I won this one. But look at even these.
Oh,
These
look at
bling
you.
rims here.
Still talking shit.
I think there's rims inside this one. Is that what's up on this dashboard? Did they throw the rims up in here? Or the tires themselves?
Okay, so the characters on a license plate are.
I want you to go and take a picture of yours outside real quick.
5 inches in height. 5 inches in height.
For what state?
That's general.
It's nationwide. That's federal, probably. Falls under some kind of federal law.
Yeah.
Just for folks at home, I want to show you what that is. That's 5 inches right there, off of my Adam Savage tape measure here. It's 5.
I could simulate this height. I could simulate this height with the DJI Mavic 2 drone I have, and we can figure that out.
This will be a good experiment, actually. And a quotable thing too. At the end of the day, that we could always that's one a comparison that we can talk about for ages too, to all kinds of folks in our industry, and not folks will be able to relate to that.
Oh, here we go. Courtney chimed in again. I finally looked at the chat again because she's watching. 2.5 inches for license plate numbers. 1.5 inch for tire letters. Oh,
so 1.5 inch. Holy cannolis!
For tire letters.
What?
Now,
wait, 1.5 to what?
Really, it's only 2.5 inches for license plate numbers.
Yeah, that's about
either
right.
way, but it's still bigger than your
2.5 to 1.5.
Okay, so maybe you won't be able to read it, but you can still see the letters. But regardless, it's still bigger than your tire letters.
I need to get something for scale here, but I don't have anything.
Still bigger than your tire letters. Gotcha. So we're comparing imagery here, and
1.5 and 2.5 inches. Try to read to 2.5 off of a lights. I can't wait for this. And here you over here were telling me 5 inches. You're the typical dude lying about how big it is. But 2.5 and now 1.5 inch. Now 1.5 inches. Dude, there's no way, but you'd be able to see the white blur on there on any of these tires, right? You'd be able to see even more. You'd be able to see that it's letters. And 2.5 inches.
It may be a little blurry, but you can still make it out.
You won't be able to make out.
Well, maybe it's the type.
They do in fact have a license plate.
Well, maybe it depends on the character. Maybe if it's like a big X in a T or 0, I'm sure you can make that out.
You could advertise it if somebody just stole the car off the lot and it doesn't have a light. Well, even the ones off the lot have a temporary plate, don't they?
So why am I mentioning license plates to our audience? Usually the adage for imagery, or the kind of scare factor, is a lot of people think, oh, you can read license plates. You can actually see people on the ground. So it's kind of almost like the stereotype of imagery. Well, with aerial imagery, mind you, this is aircraft that flies at low altitude, and taking imagery. It's not just about how good the sensor is, but the lower you fly, you can zoom in or you can get pretty high resolution, and you could see read stuff on the ground, especially if that imagery isn't taken at nadir. If it's taken at an angle, you can see stuff like that potentially. So satellite imagery, I can tell you right now, there's not a single commercial satellite out there that could get to the resolution of reading a license plate. So no worries there. I think they're a long ways off from that still.
Dude, get out of here with that. Why would you even want to waste time with that? There's so many ground based cameras anymore. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think the federal NOAA's policy now for imagery, that when it got lowered, I think it's at 15 centimeters now
Right.
instead of 50 centimeters. So they can't go below that anyway, or at least they can't sell it. So can't distribute it publicly, even if the sensor was good enough to go below that.
I say you're allowed to use the sensor if it orbits Mars.
Allowed to.
I want the highest resolution imagery of Mars possible, so I can just
What
have
on earth are you going to look at?
A nerdgasm every night just by having it go, on a rotation on the screen.
What are you going to look at with a 15 centimeter image on Mars? Like how
I don't know yet.
Rock.
I don't know what other layers I'm going to combine yet. I don't know what I'm going to see. That's the whole thing. I don't know what unknowns there are. Right? It's the unexplored planet.
I guess. I mean, maybe if it was a hyperspectral image, and see, maybe figure out what type of resources and minerals, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to be. I don't think you can see fossils with the different sensor types, but.
Well, I hope NASA and whoever else, even if DARPA or anybody else is playing around with it, I hope they have a lot of fun with their cameras, sensors, and layers on it for sure. A lot to be learned.
Courtney went out. She must have went out and measured hers just to tell us. She chimed in. That's pretty cool. We thank you, audience, for helping us out. We're not quite as big as twit.tv to have our own chat.
No.
Chat. What does Leo call him? The chat. He has a term for
the Twit army.
Yeah, the Twit army.
Yes.
We don't have our own Project Geo army of people helping us out.
Now that would be awesome, actually. If you were enough into drones and whatnot, I should talk to Justin about that. But if there was a little drone army or whatever, you could say like, all right, we got this going on in the world. Who from my drone army can go cover it right now?
Yeah,
you can make money on that actually.
So with that said, something else I was going to say, the reason why I also thought the Ohio stuff was so interesting in that they show it in multiple resolutions in the same area is something I haven't seen this too many areas, but I would like to create for Project Geospatial on an education page that we need to release, because we used to have an education page on one of the older versions of the website. I'd like to actually create examples of the different resolution, what it looks like. So exactly the same chip, but at multiple resolutions. Your 15 centimeter,
I've seen stuff out there like that before.
1.5. Yeah, but I would like to make it more public.
I hear what you're saying.
Outside of business development with all the fancy language, kind of simplify it for folks so they can understand what satellites of different types are capable of,
well, going back to
aerial imagery is capable of.
Going back to it, Maxar might have something like that, actually something sexy that we could use as a guide.
I think we can make it simpler than that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That not for dummies, but yeah, for people outside of the industry.
But even their satellites don't go below 15 centimeters. So
yeah, let's check out what they did for an example, though, just to see the pros.
Yeah, their satellites don't go below that, and oftentimes, as much as they could, most of their satellites don't go below 50 centimeter imagery.
I'm checking out the minivan collection over in the parking lot now. Over here on the right, the minivan, the roof racks. Do they still make? Yeah, they still make minivans. I drove one not too long ago.
They still make minivans. Obviously, Mason is not quite the. Not the
car enthusiast.
Stereotypical, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't driven in ages. Well, it's rare when I drive. It's rare.
Well, we might be winding down for this episode. Unless everybody has anything, we'll be a little bit more prepared with some more news items, more stuff. Late Night Geo is just, once again, just kind of ad hoc or
You apologize before, during, and after every episode.
I'm glad you point that out because I need to get better at that. So I'm really good at recorded episodes. I think I'm decent at interviews, but this kind of extended chat type of thing is
well,
still
first off,
something
you
I need
lied
to
about
figure
the
out.
size. That's what it is.
I did not lie about the size. Did not.
5 inches, huh? Yeah.
No, I was looking it up. I was looking up online. So obviously you can't beat measuring it, but
also we need to take into account other countries, because other countries have larger and more, bolder text numbers and letters. Depends what country it is.
yeah, that is true. And license plates are more of a vanity sometimes overseas than they are even here. I was reading in some of the other countries like Dubai or something like that, they pay like millions of dollars for their license plates. If you get like a certain vanity plate, like they'll actually sell them off.
I think I recall reading about it. It's almost like buying a URL. You know what I mean?
But we will definitely be ready for more news next week, and we'll
I'm
try to
sure
get some folks on.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be tons more exciting. What week isn't there? Some, especially with all the space launches, et cetera. This industry has really, really picked up in general. So, and I can't wait to just explore Mars this week and see what else I find.
Yeah, you would do that. So if we do have some interviews coming up, so check our schedule in the next week. We do have some announcements and some company interviews that we're currently in the process of scheduling. So I don't want to say too much until we actually have them on the calendar. But we have some interesting stuff coming up ahead as well. Not only that, but that series, that preview that we were talking about, I should mention what it's about because I showed the trailer and didn't really explain it. So the Journey of Where is going to be this somewhere around 7 to 10 episode series covering multiple different topics. And hopefully episode 1 is going to be around the history of cartography, for example. Episode 2 is getting into satellite and or electro-optical imagery. I think I have the 3rd episode focusing around the origins of SAR, which is going to be based off of a URSA post. So they've helped out a lot with that narration. Let's see, I have a whole kind of outline of what's going to happen. So I will attempt to release those monthly after I knock out the first episode or 2. And we'll figure out a release schedule. But it's going to be a fun little, we'll call it mini documentary project because I don't expect any episode to be longer than 10 minutes at max.
That's important too these days on the videos, is to keep the length down to a certain amount. Like you did that that introductory video that we watched here. You want to watch that again? Actually, the journey.
Not over this. We will release it on Twitter after.
I was going to say that's the perfect length though, because it's just 3 minutes is what you have.
If we do release it, if I do screen share one of those videos again, I won't do it because we're using a web-based studio for this one, just for the sake of my computer's memory. But if I do, I like using XSplit or OBS Studio. It pushes out video locally much better than the web does, the web studio. But no, I can't wait to do that series, knock out a couple episodes. I got some editing to do this weekend on it, and hopefully it turns into our first educational series, first stab at an educational series, and we'll get better and better as we go along. And back to Mars. Back to Mars
we are.
Have you even looked at the Perseverance yet, or are you still just wandering around?
Yeah, I haven't. I don't care about that Perseverance anymore. That's old news. Let's go back to Viking 2, 1976.
I can't take you anywhere, not even Mars.
Hanging out. I wasn't even on the Earth yet.
Yeah, right.
And the Viking 2 was landed. Mom wasn't working with NASA at that point either. She was just a wily young thing herself.
Perseverance. Yes, mother worked for NASA at the time. What did she do over there?
Well, in Germany, she worked on the failed Hubble telescope project with the Germans. Not failed; it's now working or
I
whatever.
was going to say Hubble was not fail. I mean, I know they had that point where they had to replace the lens, and that was a big deal.
Yeah, the lens. That was the whole thing. They got it up, but they let us down when they got it up. You know what I mean? So
Well, there was like that slight crack or warp in it, and and it was quite a feat when they had to send the shuttle up there years later to replace it.
I know. It's amazing what we can do up there.
So I think we'll deem this more of a space episode because we talk a lot more about space than geospatial stuff.
I'm actually excited to see what China is going to do in space here coming up because they have such, especially with making so many products, and it's like you said with repetition. You get better with everything, but with their manufacturing processes, etc., with making the most high quality electronics from your Apple goods to you name it. It's going to be interesting to see how they expand in space with their precision, etc., and to see how that works out.
I actually didn't realize the Hubble telescope is still up and active.
Yeah, it is. It
was decommissioned.
Yeah, at some point I have some little some little NASA goodies and whatnot that I can bring out.
I guess last year it hit its 30-year anniversary.
Yeah,
impressive.
It's an oldie but goodie. Yeah, so here's Perseverance, and this is all the folks that tweeted around it or whatever.
Oh, you finally got there.
Yeah, so here's Perseverance, and let's zoom it out just a tad so we can get in perspective of where other things are. So Curiosity's over here on the right from 2012. Insight was
way out there.
Beagle was 2003. Viking 1, Pathfinder, Opportunity. There's way over there. So here's Perseverance. So this is interesting because it's almost an unexplored area, and right here. Besides, Beagle 2 was over here in 2003. I'm wondering if Beagle 2, because it's in a kind of a flatter area over here, if it saw something over here in this darker area where Perseverance landed. You see the color change shade from the terrain and etc. right here. That's interesting. So let's go into 3D view now if we can.
Well, they're not using the same sensor I know the orbiter is one thing, but when they take I think they were taking pictures with the lander on the way down.
Yeah.
And
so this is awesome. You can actually see, but you can see the shift in the terrain and the color change here, right?
Yeah, and then they probably do a achromatic shot when they're down there, so it's more light.
Oh yeah, there's going to be that. We're just looking at Google Earth imagery right now. We haven't even looked at the beautiful stuff.
Well, by the way, for those who don't know, you can still look at other planets in Google Earth itself. Google Earth has that option to switch to the Moon, Mars, and I think a few other planets as well. I don't know if it has all the updated stuff that this particular viewer does, but it's. I know Google Earth was one of the earliest public visualization tools that you can just look at all the imagery at once from other planets. You can just switch to, Earth mode or to Mars mode, to Moon, and that was really cool to see. Yeah,
you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that was as early as I would have to look back, but probably 2008, 2009 when they implemented
It's another one of the early Google Moonshot programs that you see pop up again in 10 years. People are like, oh, that's cool.
I'm echoing, huh? I did not know I'm echoing. Well, it's probably a good point to wrap it up. So
that's what she said.
I know why I'm echoing. I'm probably videos probably have sound on in one of these other tabs. Well, anyway, let's see. I'm going to switch it back to the two of us, turn off the screen sharing. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us. And we have a lot we explained. So once again, if you want to come on the show, send us a message on Twitter, send us an email at info@projectgeospatial.com, or you can send me a personal email, adam.simmons@projectgeospatial.com. Welcome to come on the show any night. We just, or if you want to do it on our Friday nights, it's welcome too. check our schedule this week and next for some cool overviews of some new technology and companies coming up, and see what's on the series schedule. If you have an idea for a show, or if you'd like to pop on to just talk about things outside of Late Night Geo, feel free to hit me up on that too. Happy to hear from you and talk about geospatial technology and cool trends that are going on. I'm Adam Simmons.
I'm Mason Rothman.
That Q thing still works. We'll talk to you next time.